That was awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. By working with you, by working together, and by investing in our multi-year economic growth plan, we have grown the economy year after year. We do, however, face some significant challenges, and we need to face these challenges together. This is what I want to talk to you about tonight. Voici de ça que je vais vous parler ce soir. Je vais vous parler de comment on travaille à faire croître l'économie. Je vais vous parler de c'est quoi les défis devant nous. Et je vais vous parler de comment on va travailler ensemble, je l'espère, pour les surmonter. Avant de débuter, je vais quand même prendre un moment pour souligner la présence de quelques personnes. Je veux remercier tous les dignitaires dans la salle. Je ne vais pas tous les nommer. I do want to take a moment to thank every elected official in this room. Politics isn't easy. Raising your hand and saying, I want to make a difference and I'm going to put my name on a ballot isn't easy. So what I would ask, if everybody will indulge me, I would ask any municipal elected officials, any MLAs, and any MPs that would be in the room, if you could just stand up real quick and be acknowledged, please. So please stand up and have everybody acknowledge your presence. Merci pour tout ce que vous faites pour la province du Nouveau-Brunswick. Je veux aussi remercier les commanditaires. I very much want to thank all of the sponsors, the Chamber for putting this on year after year. We really appreciate the opportunity to come and discuss the state of our province with all of you. So please, let's give all the sponsors and organizers a round of applause. I also want to thank the most generous, the most patient, and most thoughtful New Brunswicker, my wife, Karine, for being here. So please give her a round of applause. I have to tell you, I'm a little biased, but I also find she's very beautiful. And I'm not the only one, actually. Some are clapping, so I'm not the only one. I have to tell you this. We were on, I think it was maybe a couple months into our relationship, on a date at a concert. And we were just listening to the music, and I saw this man and this woman staring at us. So I said to Karine, I said, well, sorry, this happens. I just gotta, it's embarrassing. I just gotta go say, I'll just go say hi, see if they want a picture, okay, just a sec. So I said, hi, I'm Brian. Oh, so sorry, I'm so sorry, we're so sorry. We were just staring at you because we just find your girlfriend so beautiful. So I put my selfie stick in my pocket, sort of, right, gotcha. They thought it was someone else. Yeah, don't worry about it. So thank you very much, Karine, for being here and, of course, for supporting me through all of this. I appreciate it. I also want to thank Siemens specifically. Not only are they a title sponsor, but we really do appreciate everything that they're doing in New Brunswick. We heard it tonight, and we've heard it every single night at the State of the Province over the last few years. They are investing, they believe in New Brunswick, and they are making things happen. So let's give them a round of applause. Je vais vous dire que chaque fois que je me fais présenter, je trouve ça toujours un peu drôle, parce que les personnes utilisent différents titres parfois. And it's always weird for me to be called Premier, to be honest. And on my name tag on the table, it says Honorable. It's always kind of different for me. I have to tell you, once I was in Montreal and I was trying to check into a hotel, and this person at the desk was asking if I had their point system. And I said, I don't know. I said, I'm not sure. Maybe. I said, Brian Gallant, maybe you could check. Yeah, I said, I'll check, no problem. He says, in New Brunswick? I said, yeah, and he's looking at different cities. And then he says, are you Hun Brian? And I said, I was tired. I sort of just got in. I'm sorry, excuse me? Hun Brian? And I was thinking to myself, I said, what is this sound he's making before he says my name? And he said it a third time. I said, honorable. And then he kind of looks at me, and I said, I said, Brian's fine. Brian's fine. I also want to take a moment to thank our MC. I get the chance to see him at different events, and obviously he's been doing the State of the Province now for a few years, doing a great job, so please give him a round of applause as well. And last but not least, I want to thank every single one of you. You're all busy people. You are making things happen in our province. You're community leaders, you're business leaders. The fact that you've taken some time to come join us tonight is really appreciated by me. And I can also tell you that we appreciate everything that you do to try to advance this province. If you're here tonight, if you're willing to take a few hours to join us, it's because you deeply care about New Brunswick. So I really do appreciate everything that you do for our province. Last but not least, some of the people that couldn't make it and that would be following on Rogers and listening in through Rogers, thank you very much for joining us as well. Avant de débuter mon discours un peu plus formel, je vais certainement prendre un moment pour souligner que hier, nous avons vu l'anniversaire de la crise du verglas. Et je pense que vous vous rappelez tous et toutes que c'était un moment très difficile pour la province, c'était un moment très difficile pour plusieurs communautés. The ice storm last year that had its one-year anniversary yesterday was a difficult time for many New Brunswickers. But I have to say, still to this day, I'm in awe and inspired about how communities got together. C'était incroyable de voir comment les communautés se sont ralliées ensemble. C'était fantastique de voir les personnes dans des régions qui étaient aucunement affectées ou un peu moins affectées aider, appuyer les régions qui étaient plus affectées. C'était vraiment de quoi de spécial de voir comment que les gens du Nouveau-Brunswick se sont ralliés ensemble. I do want to also take a moment to thank NB Power, all the first responders, the volunteers, all the community leaders that stepped up to make sure that the regions and the province could get through the ice storm of last year. So if you don't mind, one last round of applause for all of them. I want to try something a little different this year. I want to talk to you a little bit about myself. I want to talk to you a little bit about me because I've been thinking about it. And I think if you understand a little bit more about my background, what I went through when I was a kid, what my family went through, it would probably inform all of you and New Brunswickers a little bit more about what I'm trying to do as Premier, why I've done the things that I've done, and why I want to do certain things moving forward. So let me start off by saying this. I was born in this house in Shediac Bridge. Very, very big community. Shediac is sort of on the outskirts of Shediac Bridge, if you're wondering. My parents were living with my grandparents at the time. We then, my parents and my siblings and I moved around the province probably 6 or 7 times before I was 10 years old. And we moved around because my parents were looking for work. I can tell you that I understand deeply what it's like for a community, what it's like for a family or an individual when they're looking for work. I've lived it, and I know many of you have either lived it yourselves or know people that have. It's hard. Et sans raison de ça que je comprends et notre gouvernement comprend à quel point c'est important de faire croître l'économie et créer des emplois. Then, at the age of 10, we were living in Moncton. And my mother was working at the Burger King. My father was working at the Co-op grocery store in Bouctouche. Malheureusement, mon père a perdu son emploi. My father lost the job that he had, that he later gained a couple years after, and then served or worked there for about a total of 18 years. But for about 2 years, he wasn't working there anymore, and he was looking for work. We went through some pretty tough times when I was 10. We had to move back to the house in Shediac Bridge where my grandparents were living. So I can tell you again that I understand the struggles when somebody's looking for work. We moved in with my grandparents. A part of the deal was my mother would actually quit her job at Burger King and try to take care of my grandparents. My grandfather had Alzheimer's. My grandmother had Parkinson's disease. A lot of people in this room, I'm sure probably every single one of you have seen these types of diseases affect our family members and friends. I lived it. I lived in the house, cramped quarters in that house for years, watching these terrible diseases have an effect on the mobility and obviously the cognitive functions of my grandfather for years. It was difficult. Alors, je peux vous dire que je comprends lorsque je parle à un Néo-Brunswickois ou une Néo-Brunswickoise qui veulent qu'on investisse davantage pour aider nos aînés, qu'on ait des programmes pour les appuyer lorsqu'ils ont besoin de l'aide. Then, we went through some tough times. My grandparents passed away. My father and mother inherited the house. We went through some tough times still. My father got that job back at the co-op in Bouctouche. My mother was working at McDonald's in Chiriac. And we had tough times, like our well breaking down, and we couldn't fix it because we just didn't have the money. So for 2 years, we had to boil our water. We had tough times. My father would bring expired food from the grocery store so we'd have a little bit more to eat. We had tough times. In this house, we had to share rooms. I shared a room with my brother. My parents later on, when my brother had kids and needed a place to stay and was staying in the Chiriac Bridge home, slept on a pull-out couch in the living room for 2 years to make room for their grandchildren. So we've seen some tough times. And again, like everybody in this room has, or at least have family members and friends that have. But I say this because this had a profound effect on me, as I'm sure you can imagine, and I'm sure all of your experiences would as well. So when we were going through those tough times, I remember telling myself, I don't know what I'm going to do later, but I can tell you that my life is going to be dedicated to helping people, to helping families like mine that are going through tough times, that need a little bit of support. And I want to be real clear, my parents are amazing people. They work hard. They want to work. They want to be able to contribute. So watching them go through that was very difficult, as I'm sure you can imagine. So I didn't decide that I wanted to get into politics then, but that's when the fire started to burn. It started to burn in my belly, and I wanted to make a difference and to help families like my family, and like I'm sure, again, many of the families that you know that have gone through similar things. So then I wanted to go to university. A few in my family tried, didn't get to finish. I wanted to go. Alors, j'ai démarré 2 entreprises pour payer pour mes études. I started 2 small businesses, very small businesses, humble businesses, but I was able to make enough to be able to get through university. And then after that, I reflected on how I was able to go to university, become a lawyer, get a good job. Thank you, Stuart McKelvey, by the way, for the first job. Appreciated that. And one of the main things that helped me was the fact that I had a family that loved me and supported me. I want to make that very clear. J'étais très chanceux d'avoir une famille comme la mienne qui m'appuyait tellement. The second thing, I worked hard. There's no doubt about it. I had to work hard. And I believe everyone in this room, if you're sitting at one of these tables in this room, you've worked hard too to get to where you are. And the third thing, it was because I was able to get an education. Et je peux vous dire qu'après avoir vécu l'expérience que j'ai vécue, après avoir vu ce que ma famille a passé à travers, c'est en raison de ça que l'éducation est tellement importante pour moi. C'est en raison de ça, comme votre Premier ministre, que je travaille très fort pour améliorer l'éducation. And I can tell you that it's because of these life experiences that I am very proud to say that I am the Premier and we are the government that has invested the most in education in the history of our province. I think education is the key, but it can't be our only focus to grow the economy. Nous comprenons pourquoi c'est tellement important de faire croître l'économie, comme j'en ai parlé un peu avec l'expérience que j'ai vécue. Et nous comprenons qu'il faut avoir une approche qui est diversifiée, que nous faisons plusieurs efforts pour faire croître l'économie et créer des emplois. So we've been working very hard on New Brunswickers' #1 priority, which is economic growth. I'm very privileged to be your Premier, and I've had the chance to go to every region, to communities across this province, to meet thousands and thousands of New Brunswickers, and every single one of them will always mention that the economy and creating jobs is important to them. So as your government, we've been focused on that since day one. We have an economic growth plan where we're making investments to create opportunities for New Brunswickers. Nous investissons davantage dans le tourisme. Nous développons nos ressources naturelles de façon responsable. Nous appuyons des industries qui ont des difficultés en ce moment, comme vous le savez, comme la foresterie. Nous aidons à avancer des projets comme la mine Cécine. Nous faisons tout ceci en comprenant aussi qu'il faut combattre les changements climatiques. Et comme votre gouvernement, nous travaillons fort pour combattre les changements climatiques de façon responsable, où nous respectons nos réalités, nos défis, et nos possibilités économiques. We're working hard to foster innovation, and we have some amazing things going on. I got to speak to some federal ministers that have gone around the globe, and they have people mentioning Fredericton, New Brunswick, as doing some amazing things when it comes to cybersecurity. We have amazing private sector businesses that are starting up in New Brunswick, and we have major firms on an international scale that are investing here in New Brunswick, and certainly Siemens is one of them, advancing things like the smart grid, looking at what investments they can make in cybersecurity here in the province. Nous travaillons aussi pour encourager l'innovation dans nos secteurs plus traditionnels. Des investissements que nous faisons pour essayer d'innover dans les pêches, c'est un bel exemple. Nous allons faire des investissements avec le gouvernement Trudeau pour assurer que le secteur sera capable de compétitionner à niveau international pour bien des années. We're also developing our workforce. It's one of the most important assets that we have as a province. It's New Brunswickers, it's our workers, it's how loyal they are, how smart they are, how innovative they are, how hardworking they are. And we want to do more. We're investing in programs like the Youth Employment Fund. This allows a young person aged 18 to 29 that has just graduated the chance to get hands-on work experience, subsidized by us for 6 months. Often the business will hire them after that, or a similar business in a similar industry will hire them after that, helping us develop the workforce for businesses and that we have right now and that will invest here in the future. We also have the Immigration Pilot Program. This is an important program that is very employer-driven. So what types of needs, what types of skills are we missing? And how can we help ensure that we get the people here in this province to give our employers the skills that they need? And I want to be really clear. We need to keep New Brunswickers in this province. We need to bring New Brunswickers back to this province. We need to bring Canadians here for the first time. And we need to welcome new Canadians. It is not an either-or. It is not multiple choice. We need every single one of these streams happening at the same time if we're going to have the strongest workforce possible, if we're going to grow our population, and if we're going to continue to grow the economy. Now, with all that said, a lot of small businesses in the room, and we want to support you as well. À peu près 90% des entreprises au Nouveau-Brunswick ont moins que 50 employés. Alors, c'est très important de les appuyer. Ils sont très importants pour notre économie. So I want to tell you that we're doing everything we can to help small businesses. We enhanced the small business investor tax credit from 30 to 50%, allowing people to invest in small businesses, giving small business owners the capital they need to invest to become more innovative, productive, and to grow. And I can tell you that I'm very pleased that since we've been your government, we have cut the small business tax by 44% effective April 1st of this year. This is going to help small businesses grow, help small businesses compete, and help small businesses create jobs right here in New Brunswick. Si vous êtes comme mon père, à ce moment ici, vous allez me demander, OK, ben c'est bien beau ça, mais est-ce que vous êtes en train d'obtenir des résultats? So if you're like my father, you're going to ask, all right, well, that's all great, but are we getting results? The answer is yes. From 2011 to 2014, the New Brunswick economy retracted. In 2015, by working together, by investing in our multi-year economic growth plan, we grew the economy at the third fastest rate in Canada of all the provinces. Ontario and British Columbia were the only provinces ahead of Little New Brunswick when it came to growing the economy in 2015. It grew in 2015. It grew again near the Canadian average rate in 2016. It is estimated that it grew again in 2017, and projections tell us it will grow again in 2018. We have grown the economy by working together, all the while reducing the deficit of the provincial budget by more than half, and all the while investing more in education and investing more in healthcare. And, well, if you want to clap, go ahead. And I'd like to point out that we have currently, in this fiscal year, the lowest deficit the province of New Brunswick has seen since 2008. On top of that, we have accomplished these things, and we also have, as of July 1st, 2017, the largest population in New Brunswick's history. We have the most New Brunswickers we have ever had by making these strategic investments. At the end of the day, we need to have a strong workforce, and we need people to do it. We want to have our families be able to stay here in New Brunswick, and by ensuring that they have opportunity, we'll be able to do it. Now, am I here saying everything's perfect? Absolutely not. We still have challenges. And we have some significant ones that I'd like to talk to you about tonight. So the first significant structural challenge that we face here in New Brunswick is an aging population. I want to give you a sense of why I think that's a problem and what statistics demonstrate that we have to work on this. So if we don't do anything and we stay the course, projections tell us that by 2030, approximately just under 30% of New Brunswickers will be 65 years old or older. So to put in context, it's almost 1/3 of New Brunswickers would be seniors. We want people to stay here, we want people to retire here, but we also need to have a strong workforce as well. Another statistic that's important, for 33 consecutive years, we have had, unfortunately, a net negative interprovincial migration rate, meaning there are more New Brunswickers leaving the province, young New Brunswickers leaving the province, than there are young New Brunswickers coming into the province. I want to be really clear. I know a lot of people will blame me for that. I was 3 years old when it started, all right? Just keep that in mind. It's like when people try to blame me for the bad weather. We all know that's a federal jurisdiction, so that's not. Dominic's not here, is he? All right. Now, we have to address this because these trends mean that we have more seniors, relatively speaking, which comes with a cost and pressure on our health care and senior care. It also means that we have a shrinking workforce that we have to address. So we are addressing it as your government. So when it comes to senior care, we're going to be investing to ensure that we have more seniors stay in their homes longer. It's better for their quality of life, and it's better for the quality of life of their families, and it's better for the system. We're going to invest so seniors can be more active and healthier for longer, and that includes to be more active in the workforce a little bit longer as well. They have a lot of experience that they can contribute and help the younger generations, and we need to be able to tap that. De plus, nous allons investir pour faire tout ce qu'on peut pour développer notre main-d'œuvre, surtout avec les jeunes. Vous avez peut-être vu plus tôt cette semaine, nous avons dévoilé un plan pour faire des investissements pour aider nos jeunes à travailler ici dans la province. We recently unveiled a plan to help ensure that our youth can find employment opportunities here in New Brunswick. So a few things, a part of that plan, we want to make sure our youth understand what jobs are waiting for them right here in New Brunswick and what jobs will be waiting for them in the future here in this province, so they can make informed decisions on where they want to work and what they may want to study. We want to make sure that we provide youth employment opportunities so people can get the experiential experience they need. We want to make sure that they can get hands-on work experience so they can go seamlessly into the workforce. De plus, nous voulons aider nos jeunes avec les dettes. A few years ago, when I was the president of the Université de Moncton Student Federation, I was reading a report that ranked New Brunswick, unfortunately, this was years ago, probably around 2004, ranked New Brunswick 57th on 60 out of 10 provinces, 50 states when it came to the affordability of university and college education. And the components they used were very interesting. What they looked at is, well, how much debt will a student in your jurisdiction have when they graduate? And what type of salaries can they expect in that jurisdiction? So guess what was happening to New Brunswick? People were graduating with above average debt loads. And in New Brunswick, we do have a great cost of living, but that means that they would be receiving, unfortunately, salaries that would be below the average. So that disparity means that people are going to make calculations such as, well, since I have this New Brunswick debt, I have to go make a Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Vancouver salary. So we need to address the debt load. So we have done things like the free tuition program, like the middle class tuition relief program, and we will be doing more for the debts with debt avoidance moving forward. De plus, nous allons travailler très fort pour croître l'économie. Et à la fin de la journée, comme vous le savez, si nous voulons que nos jeunes soient capables de rester ici, la meilleure chose qu'on peut faire, c'est de leur offrir un emploi. The other significant challenge that I want to talk to you about tonight, I'm sure you've probably heard about this one, it's the protectionist views that seem to be building in the U.S. New Brunswick is the most export-oriented economy of all the provinces in Canada. We should be proud of that. Ça veut dire que nous sommes très bons à produire des choses, à délivrer des services de façon que nous pouvons compétitionner avec n'importe qui autour du monde. Another statistic that's important is the fact that about 90% of our exports go to the U.S. So to the small business owners in this room, it's the equivalent of us having one client that represents 90% of our revenue. So we are very dependent on the U.S. Now, I want to be clear, any economy in the world would be happy to have the economic relationship that we have with the U.S. So we should be proud of it. But we should also realize that there's a vulnerability in being as dependent in terms of the relative percentage of our exports going to them as we have. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire? Il faut diversifier nos marchés. Il faut faire sûr qu'on est le plus innovateur qu'il n'y a pas, que nos industries sont toujours en train de regarder, et nous, on les encourage de regarder comment ils peuvent faire les choses un peu plus efficacement, pour qu'ils soient capables d'envoyer leurs produits et services encore dans le marché américain, mais aussi pour qu'ils soient capables de trouver d'autres marchés autour du monde. So we're working hard as your government to find new markets, and I want to show you a quick video, a promotional video that was made that is, I think, fantastic, trying to demonstrate to businesses why they should start up in New Brunswick to export from here and to also try to open up new markets for you entrepreneurs and business owners. So to the video.
Imagine a place.
We understand that we have to help businesses be able to compete and be as innovative as possible in today's climate where we see the protectionism that we see in the U.S. So we will be investing to help business competitiveness. So I'm going to point to the slide here. We're going to foster innovation. You're going to see us increase our investments in research and development. We're going to increase our investments in helping startups and ensure that we can support them to scale up. You're going to see us roll out a program that I hope many in this room will benefit from and will apply for. This program will help small businesses that are export-oriented be able to make some of the capital investments that they need to make to be more productive and to be able to compete. Nous allons regarder pour des possibilités d'exportation de nos produits énergétiques et nous avons des gens qui sont en train de travailler là-dessus avec une coopération que nous avons créée pour dédier leur temps pour garder des opportunités pour nous aider à faire croître nos exportations en énergie. We're going to be investing with the federal government in the Atlantic Fisheries Fund, which is just a great example of a traditional industry that we're going to help ensure that we can be as innovative and productive as possible. Et comme que nous avons déjà mentionné, nous allons investir dans le tourisme. We have a bold multi-year tourism growth strategy that we hope will bring us to $2 billion in revenue in a few years. We have a wonderful province, we have so much to offer, and we believe making the strategic investments necessary will help increase this already important sector for our economy. And I want to tell you that we'll be investing over $20 million over the next year to accomplish the things that I just mentioned. To face all these challenges, I have a couple things that I still want to say. We need your help. We need your help to be able to think how we can do things better, how we can be more innovative, how can we deliver the same quality and even better quality healthcare that's as accessible as we need it to be with an aging population. How can we ensure that our youth get to be employed here? Qu'est-ce que vous autres vous pouvez faire comme des leaders communautaires, comme la communauté d'affaires, pour embaucher plus de jeunes, pour essayer d'être leur mentor, pour que non seulement que vous soyez capable de les embaucher, mais que vous soyez capable de développer leur carrière avec eux. So I ask you to figure out and think about what you can do to help our youth stay in this province, be able to get the experience they need. Maybe that means that some of you, when you're about to put a job application out there and you're about to put 5 years experience, you maybe look at trimming that down a bit. We also need you to let us know what we can do to help ensure that you're able to compete in the US market and you're able to diversify your exports to different markets around the world. We want to work with you, we want to figure this out, and we want to ensure that we tackle these challenges together. Avec tout ça dit, par exemple, je vais retourner à la pierre angulaire selon moi. Je crois sincèrement que l'éducation est la clé pour l'avenir de notre province. I firmly and still believe that there is no magic bullet out there, but if there was one, the closest one is education. We want to continue to invest more in education. We want to continue to give our youth the chance to have the best start in life. We want to continue to help families be able to upgrade their skills and further their education. And I can tell you that we are very proud of what we've accomplished so far, but there is still a lot of work that needs to be done. Je vous ai dit que je suis très fier du fait que notre gouvernement est le gouvernement qui a plus investi dans l'éducation dans l'histoire de la province. But I want to let you know that we're not just investing more in education, we're investing strategically. We're investing millions of dollars to increase our literacy rates. Absolutely. All the studies show that it's important for our economy that we increase our literacy rates. It's important for the health of our families we increase our literacy rates. But that's not to mention what it does for the individual when we increase that person, that child's literacy rates. We want to ensure that we introduce coding to more children into our schools. We have a generation that is comfortable using technology. We want that generation to be as comfortable creating it. And we're investing to right a wrong that we saw in this province a few decades ago. We are investing to allow our children to have the chance to learn trades in the schools. Giving them those opportunities is important for their development and for our economy. Et tous ces investissements sont en train de suivre nos plans d'éducation de 10 ans. We have our 10-year education plans that are guiding all of the investments that we're making to improve the results of our education system and to ensure that we have the strongest workforce possible in future years in this province. So to entice you to go check out the 10-year education plans, we have 2 videos, one in French and one in English, that we want to have you watch. I think at UNB, they teach Leprechaun 101, so that child will be all right. We're investing more, and we're investing strategically into education. 2 programs that I want to talk about tonight. First off, because I'm very proud of them, but second off, because I want to illustrate a little bit about what it means and why we made these investments. Les investissements que nous avons faits pour aborder l'accessibilité, l'abordabilité et la qualité de l'éducation postsecondaire et de nos services de garderie. We're very proud of the investments that we made to improve the quality, accessibility, and affordability in childcare and when it comes to university and college education. Think about the free childcare or the program where we help the middle class with their childcare. Let's think about what that will do. There's the obvious one. It's going to put more money in the pockets of those families. And it's designed in a way that we're going to help those that need the most support more, and we're going to help others that still need a bit of support. We have, unfortunately, too many middle-class families that are spending a big percentage of their salaries into childcare. So we want to help them, and we've made a rule that no family should have to pay more than 20% of their salaries into childcare. And let's keep talking about what this does. There are some jobs in New Brunswick right now that we can't fill. And then we meet some people and they want to work, but they have barriers. So let's talk about that. One of the barriers is this. They do the math. It's simple math for some people. They say, well, if I go to work and I fill that job that you have for me, that you're waiting to be filled, That's great. I'm going to make X amount per week, and I'll make X amount per year. But wait a second, when I'm going to have to pay for childcare, it's going to pretty much take all of the revenue that I'm going to make when I take your job. So I'm better to sit at home and be able to be with my child than go work 40 hours a week and really not come out ahead. So I say that because we believe this program is going to allow those parents that are in that position with that barrier to get into the workplace, to go back and study if they need to. And it's going to ensure that employers have a better chance of filling some of the jobs that they're trying to fill. Now let's talk about free tuition. Well, I can tell you that I was lucky. I was able to start these two businesses, and I held my breath some days that it would work. And I was able, with these two businesses, to pay for my university. But not everybody's as lucky as I was that I was able to get the money needed. And some people don't get to go to university or college when they should be able to, when they are able to, and when they really have the capacity to do great things. So we want to help people that need the most support be able to go to university and college. And again, some in the middle class need support as well. As I explained a while ago, too many people are graduating, unfortunately, with high debt loads. With the free tuition program and the tuition relief for the middle class program, we're not only going to make it more accessible getting into the door, but we're going to have less debt on our students' shoulders once they graduate. But let's talk about something that was interesting that happened to me not too long ago. J'étais en train de luncher avec Karine, et il y avait un jeune qui est venu me voir. I was in St. John at the Ale House having lunch with Karine, and a young person, I would say late teens, maybe early 20s, came to see me. He said, Premier, sorry to interrupt, I just wanted to say thank you. And I said, oh, I don't really have that happen to me very often, by the way, in case you're wondering. I said, oh, well, you're very kind, thank you. What's your name? He said, look, I don't want to bother you. I just wanted to say that I had a kid when I was 16 years old, and I thought I'd have no career. I thought the idea of having a career was done. And you came out with this free tuition program, and it completely changed my life. And as he was telling me this, I looked over to the table he was at. I'm assuming all of this, but it looked like the person sitting next to him would have been his girlfriend, maybe wife. He had I'd say about a 2-year-old sitting with them. I think his parents were there, and somebody that I would probably assume was his grandfather was watching this young man tell me his story and had tears in his eyes. And I thought to myself, that doesn't happen every day. And all of the macroeconomic reasons that we made these programs, free childcare, free tuition, the other programs for the middle class, we believe make sense. Mais de voir quelqu'un venir me conter qu'est-ce que ça avait fait pour eux, pour leur famille, pour leurs enfants, c'était spécial. And then I thought to myself, I'm assuming here, now this is all assumptions, but I thought to myself recently, thinking back about that moment, we since then have announced the free childcare program. I have to wonder that 2-year-old who clearly needs somebody watching them, I have to wonder if his girlfriend, that young man's girlfriend or wife or whoever it was, is the one watching the kid at the house. Maybe she wants to, and that's fine, and that's great. But maybe she has dreams too. Maybe she wants to go to school as well. Maybe she wants to get into the workforce. Well, that same couple would have the potential to have free childcare so that both the parents can pursue their dreams. And I got to tell you, I have some pretty rough days sometimes as Premier. And I'm lucky to have Karine and Blaze at the house that love me no matter what. But I have some good days too. And I got to tell you, to see what impact we could have on this young man's life and his family was one of the best days I've had as Premier. Je vais conclure avec ceci. Je suis tellement chanceux d'être votre Premier ministre. J'aime tellement le fait que je peux me lever chaque jour et mon emploi, c'est essayer d'améliorer la province du Nouveau-Brunswick, essayer d'améliorer notre économie et essayer d'améliorer la qualité de vie pour les gens du Nouveau-Brunswick. I'm the luckiest New Brunswicker to have the job that I have. And I want to tell you one last story about myself and my family, to give you a bit of context. So I think a lot of you would know this. I've talked about this from time to time again. My mother's a Schulten, so my mother's parents, my grandparents, are from the Netherlands. They were there during the war, and my grandparents were hiding Jewish families in their home. And they literally had Nazi soldiers come into the house looking for my grandfather, looking for the Jewish families. My aunts and uncles have told us over the years that they recalled putting on hats so the Jewish kids who didn't have blonde hair like they all did wouldn't be spotted. The soldiers would start shooting into the ceiling because they thought the Jewish families were hiding in the attic. My grandfather, for doing this, got sent to a concentration camp. The story goes that the person bringing him told one of the guards there, he says, "We don't want this guy to come out alive." He escaped by jumping out of a moving train. He packed up and brought his 17 kids to Canada. I have to tell you this quick story. It was almost 16 because when they arrived, they had one of their kids that was just born about 2 weeks before and didn't have all the papers. So when they were trying to leave, the person at the border said, "Well, no, look, if you don't have the papers for the baby, I'm sorry, you can't come." He says, "Well, no, look, we're going to Canada. We're starting our lives anew. We're leaving. We got to go. Like, can you figure it? No, I'm sorry. Look, you don't have the papers for the baby. You guys, you just can't go." So my grandfather said, "Well, look, I have 16 other ones. You can keep that one. We're going." Whoa, he said. Okay, we'll figure it out. So I think my grandfather called his bluff. But they came to Canada with 17 kids. Couldn't speak a word of English or French. Had almost no money in their pockets. And they were just starting a whole new life in this foreign land. I owe so much to this country, and I owe so much to the people of New Brunswick. It was a priest from Minto, New Brunswick, who helped the Schulten family, my grandparents, aunts and uncles, set up in New Brunswick, set up in the region. And through their hard work, there's no doubt about it, and through, I'm sure, a lot of long nights, but also with the love and support of a community like Greater Fredericton and New Brunswick, they were able to make a life for themselves here. So I can tell you that I will work every single day over the next 7 months to ensure that New Brunswick is moving forward. And I am going to ask New Brunswickers to hopefully give our government another mandate so we can continue to do what we've been doing. But I can tell you, no matter what happens, I want to still be a part of the solution. I want to work with all of you to make sure we grow our economy in a way that it works for all New Brunswickers. I want to make sure that we give people like that young man that came to see me at the St. John Ale House the chance to succeed, the chance to dream, the chance to be able to do the best that they can with their lives. Je vais travailler avec vous autres pour surmonter les défis d'une population vieillissante, de surmonter les défis lorsque ça vient aux exportations aux États-Unis. Je vais travailler avec vous autres pour assurer que nos jeunes sont capables de rester dans notre province, de revenir ici au Nouveau-Brunswick s'ils ont eu besoin de partir. I want to work with all of you, no matter what, to ensure that we move our province forward together. I ask all of you to do whatever you can over the next few months and years to ensure that we continue the momentum that we've created together. Et si jamais que vous vous doutez que vous pouvez faire une différence, je vais vous laisser avec une citation qui m'inspire toujours d'essayer de faire tout ce que je peux pour améliorer le sort de notre province. It's my favorite quote. I think many of you have heard me say it before, but I'll say it again. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. All of you have the ability to work with all of us to make a difference, and I thank you in advance for everything you'll do to make New Brunswick move forward and continue to grow. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.